Hello, everyone, and welcome to Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer, and welcome to our guest, Alex Chriss, CEO of PayPal. Alex, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So PayPal, people know that company and that brand, and they also know that you own Venmo. But how would you describe the company, Alex, and what it does?
Yeah, look, we are a couple of brands that you just mentioned, PayPal and Venmo, and we are really focused on helping people move, spend, and take care of their money in the best way possible. And so it's a global organization. We serve over 400 million consumers around the world. It's a two-sided network, so we're also deep with our merchants and tens of millions of merchants that accept PayPal and accept Venmo. And we create a frictionless experience between consumers and merchants and make sure that that transaction can happen in a safe and secure manner.
There's a lot to the business. We'll get into it. When you say 400 million, so is that daily users? How many of those people are using PayPal? How many are using Venmo? Can you give a little more color there, please?
Yeah, so 400 million is usually our 12-month rolling average, but over half of that actually transacts on a monthly basis. And so we've got over 200 million that are transacting with us on a monthly basis, and that's across both PayPal and Venmo, and it's very global. And so PayPal really has expanded and become a payment mechanism around the world.
PayPal has a fascinating history going back to the PayPal mafia and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. By the way, I heard you guys, I think I understand you bought Venmo in 2013 for something like $26 million.
Yeah, it was a transaction where we were buying a processing business, which is Braintree, which is still our unbranded processing solution, and Venmo was kind of a side project. That was just part of the acquisition. And again, I mean, you think about in the US now, Venmo is a verb. I've got two sons in college, and they call me every once in a while and just say, "Dad, Venmo is what everybody on campus is using to be able to to move money with their friends, split a pizza, and reimburse each other." And we're leaning hard into that college community. We just a few weeks ago announced a partnership with the Big 10 and Big 12 to be able to have Venmo be pervasive across college campuses. So again, it's a verb across the U.S.
Absolutely, and it's not just for young people. Someone just asked me to Venmo me $40 just a few minutes ago. True story.
Did you do it?
Not yet. I had an interview to do. Let's talk about the difference in the brands a little bit, because Venmo has skewed to a younger cohort than PayPal. Is that correct?
In the U.S. it has. And so in the U.S., Venmo, we have a teen product now, so we really are starting and being that first mechanism. Again, I've got a 14-year-old who we've set up on Venmo. We can monitor his spending habits, but he has the freedom and flexibility now with his phone to be able to tap to pay and make a purchase, have his debit card, and have enough freedom with the right guardrails. So we start with teen and really go up. Again, everybody is at some form using Venmo, but the core cohort is that teen to 29-year-old range. Outside of the U.S., though, PayPal is a pervasive brand, and we've got a significant number of 18 to 55 using PayPal all around the world.
I know you came over from Intuit about 2 years ago.
2 years,
after
almost
a
2 years. Yeah.
very long run at that company. Since then, PayPal stock has had its ups and downs versus the S&P 500. What do you attribute that to?
When I came in, I think I was very clear even in my first earnings call that this was going to be a turnaround, and turnarounds take time. What we've been focused on is returning the company to profitability, which we have. We've been focused on getting some of these core brands and core experiences moving again. So Venmo was a product that it really had been under-monetized for years. And it's something that we've now returned to real growth, both customer growth as well as revenue growth. Our unbranded product hadn't really shown profitability in a number of years. We've now turned that to profitability. And then we've improved our core branded checkout experiences for PayPal. So, look, we have some of the core elements that we knew we had to fix, and we're now innovating with new and exciting innovations like PayPal World, which is something we announced last month. So, look, these turnarounds take time. This is a big company. We serve a lot of customers around the world, and I am one of the most impatient people you will meet, and so it's hard for me to take the time to go through this. But this is an incredible organization that impacts a lot of people, and we're on the right trajectory.
Maybe this is a part of it, Alice, because you said you wanted to move from being focused on digital payments to becoming a commerce platform for merchants and consumers. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So, traditionally when PayPal started, it really was reducing friction in just a payment, right? It was very hard in the early days of online commerce to just have a merchant be able to accept a payment from a consumer. That was what PayPal was started with, and it did an incredible job. But that's insufficient to really serve the needs of a consumer and the needs of a merchant. So the transformation that we're going through now is really taking that two-sided network, taking the data that we have, taking the trust that we've built with our consumers and merchants, and helping to solve the end-to-end commerce journey. So that starts from a merchant with, who do I find? How do I personalize my experience to the right customer? How do I make sure that my marketing dollars and my advertising dollars are going to the consumers that I really want? And how can I give them an offer at the right moment, at the right time, to then be able to breeze through checkout? And then how do I have an ongoing relationship with that customer? And we think with our ability to personalize the experience with the data that we have, with the surface area that we have inside of our apps, we can enable merchants to have that conversation with their consumers. And likewise with consumers, there's so much choice out there now. There's so much choice. You go and do a search, or now with agentic commerce, you're being bombarded with offers all the time and products and services. Who do you trust? How do you make sure you know you're getting the right product at the right price? And how do you know you're using the best instrument in your wallet to be able to get the rewards that you need, or use buy now, pay later if you need that as an option? So we think because we see both sides of those ecosystems, we can actually create a commerce story that really will power the company to the next generation.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I want to ask you about this whole payments ecosystem, because it is so vast. It's kind of perplexing and bewildering. You've got MasterCard and Visa, the banks, Apple Pay, Klarna, Affirm, you guys, Square. How do you even think about that? And where do you guys fit in? You talked about the myriad competitors.
It's one of the most exciting parts about this job, is that we are in this nexus of so many different elements that are happening. Some of them are outright competitors. Some of them there's a lot of co-opetition where we work together to serve customer needs, and we also figure out how to compete. It's very, very dynamic, and it's very exciting. For me, I try to simplify things down. What do customers really need? And I'll give you an example. We have customers now where that younger cohort that we're looking at, their behaviors are really changing. They're moving away from credit cards. They saw their parents go through an 08, 09 credit crisis, and they've sort of said, and when we have conversations with these consumers, they're saying, listen, I never want a credit card. I'm going to pay on debit, but for that moment where I need to make a purchase of a TV and I don't know when I'm going to get paid next, so I'm not going to be able to afford it, I want to buy now, pay later option. So this is now new instruments that have come into the market, and we have to be able to be there for that customer. So whether it's competition and all the other noise in the market, we simplify it down. What are the needs of our merchants? What are the needs of our consumers? And how do we put the right products in front of them at the right time?
And you guys will always, maybe not always, but for the time being, need banks to do your transactions, correct?
Banks are a huge part of our ecosystem and great partners for us around the world. And again, we think we've got a great relationship with our consumer, and we can help bridge that gap between what the banks need and what our consumers need.
You recently had some issues in Germany, and I want to ask you about that. It seems like it was resolved, but what happened there, Alex?
We have service interruptions from time to time. They're always unfortunate. Our focus is on making sure that our consumers and our merchants are well taken care of. So we've resolved it, and now we're just focused on our consumers.
You've had 6 consecutive quarters of growth. I know in the most recent one, your guidance was up, your earnings was up, and still the stock tracked down a little bit afterwards because there was concern about branded checkout volume. What is branded checkout volume, and what are you doing to mitigate any softness there?
Yeah. Well, first, I'm very proud of the 6 quarters of growth, and it's part of that story of turning the company around. And again, I think we're just getting started there. Branded checkout is a really important element for us, and it includes the PayPal branded button. It also includes Venmo branded buttons. So we now have a Pay with Venmo button, and it includes our Buy Now, Pay Later business. And you put those three together, and it really is what we consider our branded checkout experience. We're seeing significant growth across both Venmo and Buy Now, Pay Later. The core branded PayPal button has been consistent over the last few years. But we need to turn that around. And the conversation that I had with our investor community at our investor day back in February was, we see a path to get to 8 to 10% branded checkout growth over by 2027. And so that's the path we're on. We've released new capabilities for our customers and our merchants that are starting to see in the right cohorts, the right trajectory that we want. And so we've got a lot of confidence that we will get there. Again, this takes time. We're talking about billions of dollars of volume going through our branded experiences. It takes time to move every basis point up. But we know we're on the right trajectory. We've got the right momentum now and the right experiences for customers, and we'll get there.
I want to ask you about Apple. I mentioned them earlier. Are they a competitor? Are they a partner? Are they both? How do they fit in with what you do?
All of the above. We obviously, an Apple Pay button on a website or a PayPal button on a website, we want our customers to choose the PayPal button. And we think we have a value proposition now as well as an experience that will earn that click from the consumer. They're also a partner. Last year, one of the big innovations that we launched was really moving PayPal into an omni-channel world. So previously, it had really just been about e-commerce. And when I came in, I talked to a lot of customers that said, I love PayPal. I use it every day for my e-commerce transactions. Why can't I use it offline? Why can't I use it when I walk into a store? And so we actually worked with Apple and launched our product called PayPal Everywhere, where you could now tap to pay in the US and be able to check out with PayPal in any store through Apple Pay. We then took that technology and actually launched it in Germany with a competing wallet. So now you can actually make PayPal your default wallet in Germany and tap to pay using PayPal. And we're starting to see really, really good growth in Germany in that market. So it's a very dynamic system, and we're excited about that offline growth.
You must have an incredible view into the American consumer, in fact, the global consumer. Let's just stay with America, though. How is the American consumer faring right now based on the visibility you have?
What we see are pretty consistent trends. We can actually see little bits of ups and downs from a week-to-week basis based on tariff news and so forth. But overall, it's been very consistent over the last few quarters. And consumers are resilient, and I think they're figuring out how to live in a world where things seem very dynamic, and they just continue to sort of chug along. So nothing dramatic that we're seeing in any of the data right now.
I want to go back to this notion of having these two big consumer brands, Venmo and PayPal. And do you see that always being the case? Is there any thought of ever merging them, or are they good, or are you good having two separate identities like that?
Venmo really only is in the US, so that would be a US challenge. And we really feel really good about the different demographics that they serve. So again, PayPal is really about managing your money in a different way, spending. We now have an omni-channel solution. It really is serving a different customer cohort, and we're adding new capabilities like shopping, agentic commerce, the ability to find different deals, rewards. The entire PayPal experience is really starting to evolve. And Venmo really is focused in the US on that peer-to-peer transaction, that college demographic that is exchanging money together, or as you highlighted earlier, that comment of, hey, Venmo me, right? That is how service-based businesses are really asking to get paid. So it actually, even our merchant demographics are different. So on PayPal, these are really product-based businesses, right? These are e-commerce stores that are asking to get paid with a tap to pay. The Venmo merchant business is a service-based business. It's the businesses that are cutting your hair or mowing your lawn or doing things, and they need to get paid, and cash is yesterday's game. And so how will they get paid in an easy way? Venmo me.
Speaking of cash being yesterday's game, stablecoins, you guys are in that a little bit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we launched our own stablecoin, PYUSD, a little over a year ago. I think it's only a matter of time until we start to see crypto really disrupting and displacing the current ecosystem, which just makes sense. I mean, over time, you have to be able to evolve. It's not going to happen overnight, and there will likely be different corridors that stablecoins are most relevant for. So our first focus is really cross-border transactions. These are transactions that take time, they're expensive, and there's a lot of fees that we can take out of the system and help our merchants transact in a fast, safe, secure manner. So that'll be our first focus. Eventually, we may look at doing that domestically, but we're excited about stablecoins.
You said you wanted to narrow your focus, improve execution, and reposition the business. How are those things going, and why those things specifically?
Yeah, well, each is really important. If I were to pull back, when I got here a little under 2 years ago, and I sat down and did our first product review, the team was very excited, but doing a lot of things. We were doing 300 different things. And I really challenged the team to say, what are the 3 to 5 things that just matter the most? And then it came down to some of the things we've already covered. How do we make sure that our branded checkout experience is best in class and we can continue to accelerate it? How do we move into an omni-channel world and really win there? How do we get Venmo back to growth? How do we make sure our unbranded business now can be set up for the future and really make sure that not only are we winning merchants, but we're delivering value-added services that we can monetize? So those were the types of things that we really focused in on. That focus allowed us to start that turnaround that we talked about for the business, but then also allowed us to improve our execution, because now we've got dedicated teams that are customer back. We reoriented the organization so that they were focused on our customers, our consumers, our small businesses, and our large enterprise merchants. And now the team is just really starting to innovate and crank away. So look, it's these turnarounds take time, and we're not where we want to be yet, but we're definitely moving in the right direction.
You have this one thing kind of hanging over your head as a company, which is $310 stock price that the shares hit in 2021. And it was a total COVID play. Everyone understands that, but still it's like this stock's around $70 now. And so how do you even think about that? Because it's just sort of this mountain over there in the past.
Yeah. I don't think about it very often. I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of plays that I understand likely why it went there at the time. I think COVID was very exciting and very confusing for a lot of businesses that were out there. My job right now is to come in and figure out how we get back to growth and hopefully we get back to a stock price in that kind of range in the future. But it's all going to be based on execution, focus, and continuing to innovate for our customers. So look, this is a company that when you have the kind of brands that we've talked about, the breadth of products, services, and customer base, and the amount of volume that we move around the world, we have so much potential in front of us. And then you think about some of the new disruptions that are happening. And that's one of the things that gets me the most excited is you mentioned stable coins. We look at agentic commerce. We look at just all the change that's coming. We're a leader in the space in a time of big disruption. I think that opens up a lot of opportunities for growth. So I obviously have shareholders as a key stakeholder that I think about, and I want them to be happy, and I want to return great results for them. But in terms of focusing on the past and what stock prices might have been, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
And just one more question about the stock. I mean, the multiple is the trailing 12-month PE is 14 and change. And do you think it should be higher than that? And what can you do to really drive the stock forward? I mean, I'm sure it's this execution.
Yeah, look, Yes, I think it should be higher than that.
What is it? What is the PE?
Look, I think our investors will figure out what it should be. For me, it's going to be based on consistency, right? I came in with eyes wide open, right? We're a company that hadn't delivered profitability, had missed a lot of our, consistently missed on our guidance coming in. So, look, we were in a penalty box. I totally understand that. What we've been focused on is relentless execution. And, I get feedback sometimes from some of our shareholders on, you've underpromised, every time you go to earnings, yeah, and we've over-delivered. And so for us, we're just going to get into that regular rhythm. We're going to do the best we can. This is an incredibly dynamic market right now. There's a lot of things that are going on. So we want to make sure that we're able to earn the trust of our investors. And I think the stock price will take care of itself.
And final fun question at the end, which is, are you going to continue to have Will Ferrell do your ads?
Yeah, Will has been fantastic. Again, one of the things we talked about is as we stepped in and we were really focused on the consumer was we got to bring some fun back to the PayPal brand. And as I went around and talked to consumers, they just hadn't thought about the brand in the same way. Even though we're a top 50 brand in the world, certainly in the U.S. we had lost a little bit of that gusto. And so Will was a great. I mean, I've got to spend some time with him. He is truly the sweetest, nicest, and funniest person you'll ever meet. And stay tuned. We'll see. We've had a couple of really good commercials with him come out, and he loves the products and he uses them all the time. So,
all right, we'll be watching. Alex Chriss, CEO of PayPal. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This is at Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer. We'll check you next time.